another piece that I think everyone probably here would want to hear your opinions on is the infrastructure is such a huge part. And when we say we need to get this many stakeholders in a room just to sell a truck, just so, you know, someone, an owner-operator or a two-person trucking company can say, all right, my truck's going to actually be allowed to get in the gate so I can make money. How do you proactively say we're going to make sure that if 1 in 5 trucks aren't going to be able to go in, that there's charging infrastructure, you know, 350 kilowatt, 1,000 kilowatt, like whatever that has to be for a trucking level, that it's going to be available, right? So we know that, you know, we're being proactive on getting rates and getting the money for fund rate, like so that you can finance the truck and so you can find the trucks. But at the end of the day, like we said, there's going to be incentives. Prologis is doing a great job, but there's so much that needs to happen in just making sure there is a place to charge. Range anxiety has been real, even on the consumer side, as I'm sure everyone here in California is aware, because there's so many benefits to owning EVs, even on the consumer side. And if you're, you know, on a non-Tesla network, everyone has range anxiety because of the lack of infrastructure, let alone the trucking level you needed, right? So is it coming from the government? I think that's the piece right here where we say, oh, we look at providers, the electric utilities kind of in an aspect as the government, but they're not. They don't have the same place where you can't mandate we need these many stations by this year, right? If we're gonna say 25% more trucks need a place to charge next year, okay, well then we need to build 30% more trucking compatible stations. Who's enforcing that? And how do we get to that point is what I'm asking.
So it is kind of interesting because that's probably by and large the biggest transition going from diesel is when somebody said I'm going to drive a diesel tractor for work, we never said what filling station do you go to. So now we're educating people on like bringing charging behind the fence, we call it, essentially, where, you know, with the truck you purchase a charger and you have to have the infrastructure brought in as well. And a lot of that, I think early on there's going to be a lot more behind the fence infrastructure. Now, part of the reason for that is there's the, I know I'm not supposed to use acronyms, the NEVI, so National Electric Vehicle Initiative, if I remember right, is, by and large, it's been very passenger car focused. So we raised our hand and said, what about all the EV trucks we have to make? So they're looking back at the federal government and they're kind of restructuring it. They're going to have more funding available for public charging for medium and heavy duty trucks. But for the first kind of 3-5 years, it's going to be behind the fence owned by the operator. Or if you have some more forward thinking ports, this is a shout out to my friends at the Port of Long Beach, you will have public charging infrastructure. You've got some companies there that are kind of installing their own charging network that port operators can use, which, I mean, that really takes a lot of the burnout out of it because, I mean, EV trucks are kind of complicated, but charging EV trucks is, I mean, you can attest to that. That's a lot.